This is the 12th video in our lecture series Optimization using Excel, and in this video I will explain you how a typical blending or diet problem is solved using linear programming. Just to tell you a brief introduction that this type of blending and diet problems are the earliest attempt to implement an LP in the application part of operation research. So as we do in every case, let us discuss a small problem here. This particular problem is taken from this book. You can get the link in the description box. And since the text is too much, like it is difficult to read right now during this video, afterwards you can always read. But I will explain you in short how this problem is going. So basically there are 7 food items. These are the food items. 7 such food items are there, and the units of these food items are common, that is serving, that is called serving. One unit of food means one serving of food. For each of these food, the unit of food is serving. So in practical real life it can be anything, any unit can happen, but in this case, in this particular problem, we will assume that there is only one unit and we call this as serving, one serving of food item. Okay, so for each item the cost figure is given. This cost is the cost per serving, and this is also the calories per serving. This is also given here. And in the next 3 columns they have written percentage protein, percentage carbohydrate and percentage fat. This does not mean the amount of protein, carbs or fat that is present in the food item. It specifically means that out of this 100 calories or out of this 150 calories, how much percentage is coming from protein, carbohydrate and fat. So for example, these 150 calories are present in one serving of canned corn, and out of this 150 calories, 20%, that is 30 calorie, is coming from protein. 80%, that is 120 calorie, is coming from carbohydrate, and 0% means nothing is coming from fat. So that is the interpretation. And in the last column, this is a classification they have given, that is whether the food item is typically fruit or vegetable or it is not. That is given in terms of yes and no. Okay, so this is the description of the table. Now what is the objective? You see it is very clearly given here that the objective is to obtain least expensive lunch. That means our objective is very clearly minimization objective. We are not going to maximize any profit function or any revenue function here. Our ultimate objective here is to minimize the total cost of the lunch package. Okay, and if you see these blue font descriptions here that I have highlighted, these are the constraints. So for example, there is one constraint that the meal must be the calorie in the meal present that must be between 500 to 800. Second constraint is at least 200 calories will come from protein. Third one is at least 200 calories will come from carbohydrates, and last one is no more than 400 calories can come from fat. And there is another constraint here that at least 200 calories of food classified as should come from food that is classified as fruit or vegetables. So these constraints are there, and it is also given that here it is given, if you read this paragraph you will understand that it is not necessary to assume that the servings are in integers. That means serving can be in fractions also, in fractional forms also. So for example, if you get 3.2 servings, that is okay, we don't mind. That means it is not necessary to have integer number of servings. Fractional servings are also possible. So in other words, very simply, they are telling you that you need to solve a pure linear programming problem. You don't need to include any integer constraints here. So that is the problem description. Now let us move to the next slide, where we have discussed how to develop the algebraic formulation for this problem. So before doing that, first of all, convert this table into absolute form, removing the percentage figures. How to do that? You see, I have explained you earlier in the last slide also. This 20%, 80% and 0% is out of 150. That means out of 150 calories total, 20% is from protein. That means 30 is from protein. 80% is from carbohydrate. That means 120 is from carbohydrate and rest is 0. So do that calculation and produce this particular table here for all. You can perform the calculation itself. These results will be obtained, or if you don't want to do that, in the Excel file also, Excel file that containing the LP, in some other worksheet, I have included the calculation. You can go through that. Otherwise, this is a really simple calculation. You can anyway do that. So let us formulate the LP. So what is the decision variable? Simply xi. What is xi? The number of servings of the food item I. And how the I should range? I is ranging from 1 to up to 7. So there are 7 food items and we have 7 decision variables, x1, x2, x3 up to x7. Okay, so what is the objective function? As I told you earlier, objective is to minimize the total cost. And what is the total cost? Cost per serving is given to you. So the total cost is this into x1, plus this into x2, plus this into x3, and so on. Like 0.3 into x1, 0.4 into x2, 0.9 into x3, 0.2 into x4 up to x7, where the coefficient or the cost per serving is 0.9. In this way, you write the objective function. So now these are the constraints that I have copied from the problem text separately to let you understand in a better way. So first of all, the first constraint is the meal must be between 500 to 800 calories. So what is the calorie counter here? Calories per serving is this particular column. So 100, 150, 250, 400 and so on. So if you multiply those things with your decision variables x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, this total will give you the left hand side of the constraint, which is the total calorie consumed. And what is the right hand side? Right hand side is that will be in between 500 to 800. So basically there will be two constraints. One is less than equal to 800, another one is greater than equal to 500. So this particular condition leads to two constraints like this. And what is the next constraint? Next constraint is that at least 200 calories will come from protein. So what is the protein content? Protein content per serving is 0, 30, 137.5, 20, 86, 201 and 15, as we have calculated here using these percentages. So make the product. So even if it is 0, I have written it here because I want to maintain a proper formatting here. Otherwise you can omit this 0 term. So 0 into x1, 30 into x2, 137.5 into x3 and so on up to 15 into x7. See here 15 is there. So 15 into x7. And what is the condition? Condition is it should be at least 200. So since this is at least, we have used a greater than equal to constraint and the right hand side is 200. Hope you have understood this constraint. So this particular constraint condition is represented by this constraint. What is the third one? Third one is similarly, as we have seen in case of protein, in case of carbohydrate also, the calorie should be at least 200. Calorie coming from carbohydrate should at least be 200. So what is the calorie counters from carbohydrates? See this one: 100, 120, 12.5, 140, 129, 0 and 40. So we put it here: 100, 120, 12.5, 140, 129, 0 and 40. And product is by x1, x2, x3 and sum it up. So that gives us the left hand side, and right hand side you already know should be greater than or equal to 200. Okay. Similarly, now see, this is the fourth condition. Fourth condition is that the calorie coming from the fat, that should not be more than 400. That means your type of constraint changes here. It becomes less than equal to, because it is saying that no more than 400 calories should be there, and the right hand side would be 400, and left hand side you can understand how is it coming. It is coming by making sum of the products of these numbers and your x1, x2, x3, as we have seen in these constraints here. And the final constraint, it is slightly different. What it is saying is, if the food item is either vegetable or fruit, then calorie coming from that should be greater than or equal to 200. So which one is fruit or vegetable? The yes one, these three. So these three are fruit and vegetables, and the corresponding calorie is these three. So 100 into x1 plus 150 into x2 and 100 into x7. That should be greater than or equal to 200. So this is the complete formulation. Of course, the last constraint is always the non-negativity constraint, which is always present here in case of linear programming, and this I runs from 1 to 7, as we have seen here also. So this is the complete formulation in algebraic form. Now let us go to the Excel sheet and implement this linear programming there. So here is the Excel file. You can see here I have copied this portion of slide from just to make sure that you get the analogy between the algebraic model and the Excel model. And I want to show this formulation side by side so that there is no confusion. So in the first row, the decision variables has been written. So you see these are the food item numbers, food item names, and the decision variables also written in the inside the bracket, like x1, x2, x3 up to x7. The next row is kept blank because it is nothing but your decision variables, where your results are going to be populated after you run the solver. So these are the decision variables. And in this row, you have entered the cost figures, which is written here: 0.3, 0.4, 0.9. These figures are written here. Now, after writing subject to, let us write the constraints as it is. So, for example, here you can see in the left hand side, you see that 100, 150, 250, 400, like this it is written. So, exactly copy that: 150, 250, 400, 430, 300, 100, and 100. In the next constraint also, same figures will be there, because the left hand sides are same for these two constraints. Only the right hand side will change because it is regarding the total calorie. One is for the minimum and another one is for the maximum. The minimum is 500 and maximum is 800, whatever it is, the left hand side is always same. So the next constraint is 200 calories. So write down the left hand side as it is found in the algebraic model. So 0, 30, 137.5, 20, 86, 201, 15. Next constraint is carbohydrate. So 100, 120, 12.5, 140, 129, 0, 40. Next one is fat constraint. 0, 0, 100, 240, 215, 99, 45. Last one is 100, 100 and 100, 150 and 100. See carefully, it is x1 plus x2 plus x7. So these things are not there, or otherwise you can say these are 0. So this is your complete left hand side. Now write down the type of constraints: less than equal to, greater than equal to, greater than equal to, greater than equal to, less than equal to, greater than equal to. See, I am doing nothing else, just I am replicating this structure in the form of Excel sheet. You just follow this algebraic formulation and write the constraints here. This is the beauty of modeling in terms of standard form. You don't have to think a bit, just follow the algebraic model and input the numbers in the Excel sheet. So anyway, in the right hand side, we have 800, 500, 200, 200, 400, 200. Now, the left hand side is calculated using sum product function. Sum product of this, then make it fixed using F4. Then select this. Don't make this fixed. So look at this formula. C3I3 is fixed. Why fixed? Because this is going to be copied down and I want to make sure that the decision variables are fixed. The coefficients will vary with the row, but the decision variables x1, x2, those will be fixed. And hence C6I6 is not fixed. So therefore, when I drag them down, what happens is this C6I6 becomes C7I7, but the C3I3 remains constant. So that is how it is formulated. If you are like wondering what is happening, then I must suggest you that you just go to the first video of the introduction to linear programming, where I have solved a product mix problem using Excel. Watch that video, these things will be clear to you. Then come back here again. Now another thing I told you in that particular video is this, that the type of constraints should be similar, type of constraint should be all in one place. Here you see it is completely a mess. Like what it means is less than equal to, greater than equal to, greater than 3, greater than equal to, then another less than equal to, and then another greater than equal to. There is no particular order. So it is not a very good way to represent a standard model. So what is done is you select this entire area, go to data and sort, and under sort by you choose the column of where you have written the sign, like column K. In column K you have this constraint signs, so keep it column K, and then don't think anything about this. Keep it as it is, A to Z and cell values. This will be of no use here. Click on OK. So now you see these are sorted. Two less than equal to constraints are together and all the other greater than equal to constraints are together. So now this is complete. Now we will go to solver menu, go to data solver, and what is your objective function? Objective is your J3, where we have calculated the total cost using the sum product function. And then go to the variable cells. What is the variable cell? Variable cell is your decision variables, that is your C3 to I3. Once it is entered, go to the add constraints. Add constraints. Now that you have sorted the constraints according to their types, it is very easy to enter. Enter it like this. Two constraints together because they are of same types. So two constraints together. This is the left hand side. This is the type of constraint, and this is the right hand side. Again, two constraints together. Then add. Then here four constraints together greater than equal to, again four right hand side together, again add. So nothing else to do, just click here and select the simplex method if it is already not selected. You see the objective is to minimize the cost, so select this mean and then finally click on solve. So before clicking on OK, make sure that you have selected the answer and sensitivity and then click on OK. Once this is done, you will be with your solution. This is your solution and this is your total cost, which means your total, if you go to the answer report also, this is showing the same result. This means, let me highlight this. This means that the total cost of your lunch will be $1.5095 and the number of servings of these particular food items will be these. As I told you earlier, there was no requirement of using any integer constraints in this case. So fractional figures like 1.333 or 0.4571, these things are okay as per the problem statement. But what will happen if you introduce integer constraints? Let us do that here. Go to solver and go to add. Then you in left hand side C3I3, which is your decision variable. Then in the drop down select the int and therefore it becomes integer automatically in the right hand side and click on add. So now if I solve it, it will give us integer solution, which is this. So this is your integer solution. As per the integer solution, you see only canned corn and fried chicken will be included in the lunch menu. 3 servings of canned corn and just 1 serving of fried chicken. So this is your integer solution with the total cost of 2.1. It is natural. See, you have obtained 1.5095 total cost in case of linear programming. Now you are constraining the problem little more by adding new integer constraints. So your objective will deteriorate. That means the cost will increase. Basically, the cost therefore has increased from 1.5095 to 2.1. So this is how it is. Uh, Otherwise, the problem does not ask you to solve an integer programming. This is just I was intrigued and just showed you how to include the integer constraint in this case also. So that is all. In the sensitivity report also you can see the optimality ranges and the feasibility ranges for the objective coefficients and the constraints are given here respectively. You can refer to these, but this is not the requirement of this problem again, so I am skipping this part right now. So that's it. Let us move to the slides again. So we have discussed this problem, this blending or diet problem, and solved it using Excel. In the next video, we will try to see how network models can be solved using LP. So various kinds of network models are available. We will discuss primarily two: shortest path and maximum flow problem. And there is another problem which is called traveling salesman problem. Two types of formulations are possible for those traveling salesman problems. One is integer programming, using integer programming, and another one is using non-linear programming. So since we have not covered non-linear programming yet, we will discuss it afterwards. And we could have discussed the traveling salesman problem using integer programming, but that we will not discuss in this basic course of optimization because that is little complex. We don't want to discuss it here. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.